And we're live. All right. Welcome, everybody. We are so excited to have all of you join. Today, we've got Audrey. We're going to go and cover a ton of stuff, but she is the CTO of Black Hat, right?
Yep.
I should have this prepared. I'm going to do that again. And also is the creator of GATED. So today we are going to explore building dApps. I'm going to tell a little quick story before we roll into it. So Audrey and I met for the first time through CPG, and we started chatting. And it was mostly around coordinating, meeting up at South by Southwest. And this is part of what I love about this community. And I think it was embodied in our NFT NYC event, but it was happening well before that. And that's why the folks that know, you know, when you meet a pop holder or a Genesis holder in real life, there's something special about everybody thinking the same way about really interesting things and being super supportive. And so we had this South by Southwest chat in Telegram. People were trying to coordinate, moving, zipping all over the place. And we all settled on breakfast on the Tuesday of South by. And we were able to link up, 6 of us, and just share what's going on. And since then, we've all asked for feedback. Elliot was there. Who else was there? We had a bunch of other folks, but Audrey and I got to talk, and we have since continued through Telegram, connecting, getting feedback, talking back and forth. And as she started to roll out Token, I was just so stoked to just watch it and have sort of an insider's view of how she was thinking about it. Token is not the only thing she has built or is working on, but we're going to talk about all of that together. And I'm just so excited and thankful that she could join us today. And so, Audrey, I would love for you to just give us a quick, what you're doing, what you're about. Let's start with your basic intro. Take it away.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Yes. Oh, thank you, Mikey. Ever since we met in South by, you've just been so awesome. I've loved communicating with you. We both bounced ideas off of each other. And like you said, it does embody what the special sauce is when it comes to pop and CPG. So it's definitely really awesome to know you and to get to know you more. So I'm Audrey Taylor Akwenye, or Audrey Akwenye. I'm originally from Mississippi in the South, but I lived 12 years abroad in Namibia in Southern Africa with my husband. I started my career as an educator, and I did that for 15 years. I've started a private school in South Africa, which is still going strong. And then I started my tech journey about 5 years ago when I wanted to build AI software that helped teachers plan more engaging lessons with students. So I went on this journey of trying to find a CTO and someone that could help me build this platform that I wanted to build. And it was extremely difficult and challenging for me to find someone. So I thought, okay, let me just take a year off and just throw myself into coding. And I coded for 16 hours a day for a year straight, learning data science and Python. And I just realized wow, I love it so much. I love coding. I love solving problems with code. And I really found my calling, and I haven't looked back since. So I started out as a data scientist, working mainly in Python, and then eventually going to JavaScript. And then about a year ago is when I started building on the blockchain using Solidity. And then I've been a full Web3 DGen since middle of last year. So that's the quick rundown of me.
Wonderful. And there's so much to unpack there. I don't think we have enough time to go through it all. I mean, just meeting you in person, you're so warm and thoughtful. I think we both bonded that we're both parents and also degens to a certain extent. I think I'm a lot less degen than most people, but it's inspiring to talk with you and understand how you think about these problems from this very rich tapestry of your background that you always bring both your authentic self to it and also these really amazing insights. But I think at the root of it is like you always wanted to start with helping people. And I think that's really a beautiful part of what GATED is like GATED was not like a lot more at its core than like, how can we help people keep track of all the stuff that's going on and make their life a little better? And that's what's so beautiful about it. So in terms of how do you want to start? I think you had wanted to talk a little bit about how GATED came across. So let's go there.
Yeah, like, so just before I talk about GATED, like one of the reasons why I really love or dove into Web3 is this idea of community. So before that, I was like a solo founder with EdTech, and it's like challenging, and you feel so alone sometimes. So then when I moved to Web3, I wanted that community, and I kind of thought, if I'm going to build anything, the next thing I'm going to build it with people that are like-minded, where I can enjoy and kind of build something as part of the community. So that basically everything that I've built since going to Web3 has been like around like a group of people that I really vibe with, that are really dope, and that I can really enjoy like building stuff with. So fast forward, I think it was maybe February of this year, Chris Cantino just like posted in the chat, like, oh, I wish someone would be able to like build something where our pinned messages get sent, daily to our email. And I was like, wow, yes, that would be really helpful, because, I'm drowning in all of this alpha that's coming down, the pipelines, and I can't keep track. So let me just try to build it, So I didn't, it's like, hey, Chris, yeah, I'm going to build it. I just like went and started tinkering and exploring and just, kind of doing it as a side project. And then probably like 2 or 3 weeks later, I finally got it to work. After, some sleepless nights. And then I just kind of put in the chat to say, hey guys, you remember you wanted, this email, of pinned messages. I created like a first version of it, like sign up and try it out. And everyone loved it. Like everyone was like, wow, token gated newsletters, and this is awesome. And I think like with CPG Club, there's like 300 people, and more than 60% of them actually signed up for the email. So they really enjoyed it and vibed with it. So I thought, let me develop it more, because obviously if it helps me with CPG Club, it will help other communities, token gated communities as well. So that was part one. And then second part is, so now I have this great idea about like, I want to build, this token gated newsletter. I think it's going to be really awesome. But then I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to like build anything by myself anymore, going back to EdTech, going back to being a solo founder. So then I was like, oh crap. Okay. So I'm not going to build this by myself. So who can I build it with? So since I'm the CTO of GATED, and I have these amazing co-founders in Chandra and Harold, I was like, hey guys, I want to build this, but I don't want to build it alone. Can we build it together so that it can be like a stronger product? And, that's what happened. And it was awesome. Like, so like I build it, they're, I'm bouncing ideas off of them. They're putting all of the, like the marketing behind it and the finance behind it and all of that. So it's really been an amazing journey, like building this together with the Black Ed community.
100%. And another shout out to Harold and Chandra. It's been fantastic to watch the team gel further, especially behind this project. And I think it's just really the thing that I want to highlight is like, this is the expectation about how pop works. Like we have all of these fantastic people. I have experienced that loneliness myself of being a founder. I have a team too, but I really look and reach into the pop community to get feedback, to hear things out. And I think what we want to do is to encourage that same type of dynamic of like meet people, understand like the different specialties that they bring and the strengths they bring to the table, and then bring it all together. Because if you try and hire somebody from a Web 2 that is not interested in Web 3 and also try and catch them up, it's a much different starting point than going to this group who are, part-time degens, full-time Web 3 lovers to say like, this is what I'm thinking, and they get it and they go, oh, great. What have you thought about X, Y, and Z? Or, oh, I saw this other project you might not have been aware of. Have you done that? That's where this pop community really gets to shine. And we know this is like one of our first examples, and one that's, you know, we're all rooting for you. So let's talk a little bit more into the weeds about, you know, what is your experience with token gating, and with, you know, with gated specifically.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of also, I'll talk about gated specifically, but I also wanted to talk about this idea about token gating, because I think that there's a lot of services that are thinking about token gating content. I'm sure like in pop, there's a lot of people who are content creators and they're thinking about how can they token gate their material or their content so that they can actually monetize it, for example. So I want to kind of weave both to say, this is what we're doing at Gated, but then this is also kind of the overarching like benefit of token gating and how you can monetize. But so just a brief overview of Gated. Gated is basically, I see it as I would consider it like a membership type of system where you connect your wallet and you have access to this information for as long as you own the wallet, right? Okay. I think I have a slide. Wait 1 second. Ooh, let me go over here. Okay. So there's different types of token gating, and I just wanted to kind of break it down. So the first one is like the membership or subscription, which I feel is what type of token gating we're doing with Gated. And this is where you verify your information, that information is stored, and there's kind of like this background task going where like periodically it's checking to make sure, do you still own the token? If not, you kind of get kicked out. Similar to Collab Land. So this is one form of token gating, and this is what we use. We use AWS, and so every 12 to 24 hours, it's checking to make sure, do you still own the token? If not, it's removing the community if you sell. There's another type of token gating, which is kind of like a paywall, where let's say you have a website, the person goes, connects wallet, the wallet checks, you check to see if there's a token. If there is, then the information is revealed. So this one, I think, is like an easier mechanism to token gate, especially if you're just like, you want to maybe token gate your website or something, then it's connect the wallet. If the token is verified, then you get to see the content of there. Another interesting type of monetization is not like primary monetization, but it's like using token gating as market segmentation. So let's say, for example, I want to have a website or email that's targeting women, for example. Maybe I'm a woman's health brand. And then I say, okay, if you have a World of Woman, if you have, XYZ, if you have a BFF, you get access to my content, because I know that like I'm really able to give content to like a specific market based on the tokens that they own. So these are like 3 examples of how you can use token gating to like find your market, sell to your market, or monetize your content. If that makes sense.
100%. I think it's really fascinating from my perspective. That market segmentation becomes almost like the other intersectional community that you can build around it, right? And I think there's a lot of ways to like lead with that as a market. Like I'm going to go specifically pinpoint, or it's like we're actually doing a collab mashup and it generates, this other synergies. This is, fantastic.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the market segmentation is actually really interesting because it also goes into this idea of like this blockchain data, right? So, when you have a company, you can only see the activity of your users on your company, like on your servers or on your database. But with a blockchain, you can actually see, a pop holder. Were they in NFT NYC? Did they go to Art Basel based on, the POAP or the poet that they might have? So you can actually weave this like activity of your users, not just on what they do with you, but what they do with their wallet. So there's a lot of data that people can get, similar to like Netflix knowing what did you watch on Prime Video, for example. Yeah.
It's fascinating. It also raises up this, we've talked about a couple things, and it's probably not for here, but it raises up like pseudonymity versus anonymity versus how you bring your personally identified information forward. There's lots of things that we're all still trying to sort out here, but I think it's a really great environment to kind of learn and start moving those things forward.
Yeah. So like the next thing, one of the things is this decentralized identity, going back to what you said, because what I like about Gated is that when you sign up for your emails, you're not actually sharing your email with the communities. So you're just sharing your wallet. And I believe like this is where it's going to go. So like one of the things I talked about is like having, your wallet address be your email. So like, let's say you sign up to buy something and you have to put in your email to like verify yourself. But then now you're getting spam because you had to put in your email, or they sell your email to an email list. But now if you just give your wallet and you're actually in charge of the content that comes to you, then you don't have to like unsubscribe from a list and hope that they remove your data, or you don't have to worry about someone selling your mailing address. I think there was an instance, for example, when if you order through DoorDash and it gets delivered to your house, then the next thing you know, you're going to be getting like spam because they can actually sell your address that was delivered to. But let's say you're only giving your wallet as your decentralized identity, and they don't actually have access to the address, your physical address. So these are kind of things that can happen where you have more control over what data you share with companies. So it benefits the individual user as well.
Totally. And I don't know if anybody was a subscriber to the NFT NYC email list, but they definitely were sending a lot of emails for your sign up. So I think this is, to your point, 100% a mindset that folks are going to have to get into. Like my ETH address is my name. So it's like, if it's in there, it's mine, and you can do a lot of information searching about that. But I have other wallets that let me be more I have more wallets that let me be anonymous or have a pseudonym. And so those are the things that I think people should start exploring if you haven't considered it. And this is a beautiful way to frame it. What do you think is the most pressing issue with getting people this type of information to then set themselves up in this way?
Well, so, there's a lot of really interesting theory around like decentralized identity or decentralized society. But I think that, that saying like we're early is so true. It's like there's this kind of idea of what it could be, but there's so many steps that have to happen in between of here to there. So this is why the builders, the people with the ideas, we come in, because we're able to say like, I feel like everyone is able to get a little piece of it. Creativity, Creative SaaS that does a little section of like this overall goal of this decentralized, Web3. So we all just have to pick a little place and build and create and be creative and innovative. And then eventually we become closer to the goal. So there's a lot of things that are just in theory, but there's not really the infrastructure or the SaaS products or whatever that actually will allow that to happen like right now, So, but I think, like, for example, with Gated, we're thinking through these ideas to say like, okay, so with Gated, we're allowing you to connect your wallet to an email. What does that mean for the user? How can we allow the user to potentially, instead of signing up for MailChimp where you have to give your email, maybe you're just putting in a wallet address and you're able to to manage your subscriptions of whatever newsletters you have from there. And then, so that's from the user side. But then from the, the content creator side, it's saying, okay, like if you want to sell, let's say you do tutorials, and instead of you selling through Udemy, you're actually selling NFT, memberships to your tutorials. And then you're able to monetize in a way that's direct to your users. But then there's also a secondary market. So maybe as your tutorial becomes more popular, people can actually resell something based on like their initial investment. So there's so many different things that can happen when we're talking about allowing your content to be gated behind a token. So those are the things we want to start with newsletters, but that's definitely not like the last part, or these automated newsletters. That's not the last part of what token gated, of what gated will be. Yeah.
100%. So I just want to take a pause here for folks that are listening. We have a couple of ways where once Audrey is finished with her prezo, we'll open it up for Q&A. So two ways. One is once we get to it, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. And the other way is start dropping some comments in the chat. There's a lively chat going. Harold, I don't know if you saw it, asked for you to stop giving away the whole roadmap. Maybe not. He's just laughing there. But I think it's great to see folks participating in the chat, and let's keep rolling.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, or I have a slide for, I don't have that many slides. This is the last slide, but it's just talking about POP, or CPG Club, because I do think that, my journey, into Web3 has been, I wouldn't be where I am now without CPG Club and without, now POP, especially all of the wonderful people that supported me, that gave me advice, insight, Chris Cantino, you, for example, Mikey. So, I wanted to give tips to like other builders, because I know POP is filled with builders, and I just wanted to kind of give some thoughts. So the first thing is like I moved from Web 2 to Web 3, and what I realized is the best way to do that is like Web 3 is really about trust, and it's about your portfolio. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter where you graduated from, it doesn't matter what your origin is. It just matters like, are you capable of doing the job? So you have to kind of have your portfolio where you can say, I can do the job, which is really awesome, because I don't come from like a, Ivy League background. I don't even come from a traditional coding background. But if I can prove that I can do the job, then I can make my mark in Web3. So I moved from personal projects, like Gated as a side project, to doing some kind of volunteer work, helping here or there, to paid projects. So I think works for me. So I would recommend anyone who wants to learn about Web3, jump in just with a project, start tinkering is the best way to learn. And I always think if you're a part of a community like POP, I always look for gaps and try to fill them. So if I'm in a community and there's like a problem and I think that I can solve it, then I try to solve it. Because I feel like if you make yourself useful, then it's like more opportunities come to you as well. The next one is like, I always try to offer help before I ask for help. And the first thing that for me was to realize that even though I might be new in Web3 or might not have a lot of experience, you always have something that you can offer and something that you can help in a community like POP. And then it's easier to get to ask for help when you've offered to help somebody. And the last thing is just about like being in a token gated community like POP, or, what I realized, I'm a very social person. I'm actually socially awkward, if you guys can't tell from this video. But what I realized is like, if I'm going to hold this token and not sell it, then I actually have to participate to actually get the value. If I'm not going to participate, then I might as well sell it, because then what is the use of it? I'm not getting any utility from it. So holding the CPG and the pop has like pulled out of me to be more active in a community, because that's really the only way that you can really get value from a community like this, the chat and all of the networking. So those are just kind of like my tips on how to like build and create and, you know, really benefit from a community such as pop.
This is brilliant. I love it. And 100% the last point of token gated communities only have value when you participate in them is the underlying thesis of like what everybody should be thinking. I think as we get into crypto winter, you're really going to find that like the more you participate in a project, the more value you're going to be able to create in it. I think these are great ideas. Thank you so much for sharing them.
You're welcome. So if that's all I have kind of organized, but so if there's any questions, then I'm all ears.
I think we have a couple of questions. We have one hand raised and we have some questions queuing up. So I saw Nato was raising a hand. Let me allow them to ask their question. Nato, if you want to, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If you want to ask the question, go for it, and then I'll queue up the next one.
Hey there, Audrey. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Nato.
Hey, so it's NATO, by the way.
Oh,
so I accidentally pressed the button, but you know, I figured I'd say hello and show my appreciation for all the work that you guys are doing. I think it's very interesting that creative route that you've taken, Audrey, especially coming from your background as an educator. I'm currently an educator. I'm actually a counselor at a university, and I've just been slowly easing into the Web3 space, and I've always been very interested in business and I don't know, just overall creativity. So this space has definitely been very fulfilling in that sense. So if I could ask, I actually run a mentorship program here on this university campus, and just thinking about ways to create like community and culture, and maybe finding ways to maybe even use like newsletters or like some sort of token system. I'm very curious as to maybe some thoughts or ideas that you may have with incorporating something like this.
Yeah, well, there's two things there. So, when I think about like the possibilities for like NFTs or tokens when it comes to like, education, like it's really exciting. Like I eventually believe that, through like soulbound tokens, like our diplomas will be NFTs that we have. So I do see like there being a lot more incorporation of, Web3 and NFT into like the general education or the education sector as a whole. But as far as you like starting starting like a newsletter, for example, this is actually okay. So Harold is probably going to kill me, but this is like the next iteration of what Gated is going to be. So kind of like similar to like what MailChimp, for example, is for Web 2. Gated will be that for Web3, where it's not just automated emails coming from, Telegram or Discord, but it's going to be, you as a counselor being able to create a newsletter and sending it to certain people based on their ownership of a token or their membership into a club. So let's say, for example, maybe there's a Web3 blockchain club. You can issue a token to each of those members, and then you're able to like send them newsletters based on them holding that token, and they can transfer the token or however, whenever they leave or graduate or whatever. So eventually this is where we see it going, where you're actually able to develop a full newsletter or have a full email list where you can contact people just based on them giving your wallet, their wallet information.
I see.
Yeah.
Great question. I also believe I just want to interject too. In terms of like building community, the kernel starts with like your own thesis of who are the people that you want to like attract to the community and what value do you bring to them by sharing some insight. Like part of what I think we've all formed around here, like Chris and Jamie and their experiences of building things is certainly one piece of the experience. And then the value that they bring is that they're connecting all of us and enabling all of us to do and incubate all of these ideas in a very, authentic and a prioritized way. So I think for you and the community that you have, NATO, on your campus, figuring out what that kind of thesis is, it's like experience in building is what POP is, and what you can pull on your community in your campus is it has to be very simple and similar to that. But you also have to be passionate about it, because that's, I think, the last piece. Like, you feel the passion that people have with CPG Club and POP, and that really also keeps the community going by keeping people continuing to participate.
And Mikey, I think it's so awesome. Like NATO? NATO. Yes, you can go. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You could go ahead. You had some thoughts there.
I was just going to say, like, one of the things is, like, sometimes when you create like a club or a community, you think you have to be like the expert in that specific thing. But what I realized, like with Web3, is like you can start a community just because you want to be a part of that community. Like with Black Hat, for us, it's not like we're saying we're like the experts and we know everything about Web3 or that we're whatever. It's just like we were three people that wanted to have community with like-minded, African-American, Black people that are also interested in Web3. So we created the community, not because we thought we were like the experts, but just because we wanted to be in a community with other cool, dope people where we could also learn and grow. And that's the same thing with CPG Club. Like Chris Cantino and Jamie, they're open to, like other people's ideas. They're open to they know that some people are more talented in other areas than they are, and they have more exposure. So it's just to open yourself and say, hey, I don't know everything, but I just want to be a part of a group where we explore and we learn and we build together,
Definitely. It's one of those things where I feel like education, like you said before, with the AI, like creating more engaging lessons for students, a lot of these students are essentially being trained by, the internet nowadays. It's very, there's like some big psychology at play, things are, the user experience is very tailored to feel a certain way. And I think that there's a lot of innovation to be set in education, and just considering this like technology, like finding ways to incentivize the students, gamifying things a little bit, I think it, contribute to a lot more like collaboration or engagement, all those things. But
yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks. Definitely. NATO, send me a DM. I'd love to hear more about like your efforts. I'm always an educator, so if you need any talks or anything, then let me know for your students.
Thank you.
None other than Chris Cantino had the other question that was queued up next. And it was, how has the product evolved as you get feedback from the communities? And he says, has anything added or changed? I'll tweak that slightly because I can, and I got the mic here, to say like, what's the one surprising thing that you changed in the current product?
Oh, okay. So back to like this community building, it is very awesome because you're able to share and give feedback early and the community is like rooting for you. So like if I go way back to when we did the first iteration, I actually started with the CPG Genesis, like the dev community, which was, I think at the time, like 20 people or something. So then I was like, hey, I'm building this. I want to test it out before I like share it with everybody. money. Can you guys give me insight and everything? And I think maybe like JP, he accidentally was getting like 20 emails or something. So he was like, this isn't working. There's a bug here, but having like people where you can share and that they're invested in your success, it's, really awesome. And then, so I launched for the devs, and then I launched in the main chat, and then I got more information about what people liked and what they didn't like. And then initially, for example, I thought that it should be weekly, and then just like maybe the 20 top things or whatever. But then people actually wanted a different consistency of like daily. So, and then also, then some people want to be able to say, do they want daily or do they want weekly? And some people, so that's one of the things that we're doing, having more preferences to people. I also, for example, with Gated, I kind of was sending the first iteration, we were sending all of the pinned messages for all of the chats that were available, subchats that were available. But then people, maybe they don't want emails for a certain chat, but they're really interested in emails for another chat. So then allowing them the ability to say, hey, I want emails for CPG, no boys allowed, but not for the, DGen diaries, for example. So that's something that we updated. And then the biggest change is like, I guess, going from Telegram to Discord, because I built this with all of this code for Telegram. And then people were like, we need this in Discord. So then I had to go down like another rabbit hole of figuring out how to like have the same implementation for Discord. So I think incorporating Discord was probably the biggest kind of community feedback that we got, and that we've like implemented. That was the biggest like change to the code that we've made.
Wonderful. I don't think we have another question in the chat. Oh, one is there a public link to the Gated product? And this is a chance for you to shill. So please go right ahead. And we have some big plans here, but yeah, point us to where people can find out more, and I'll just DM you.
Yeah. So I think Harold or Chandra, they're here. They will do it, or else I'll look for it, but it might take a second. I'll see if they. Yes, you guys can definitely email me or DM me. And then also if I try to keep this very light and not go too far into the development side, but if you're like a developer and you're like trying to figure out how to get token gating on a website, or if you're trying to build a smart contract and that you want to incorporate token gating into that contract, you can definitely like reach out to me, and I can share more resources about different tech stack that you can use to actually incorporate that. And if you want to go through kind of like how we do it with Gated and what our tech stack is, I can also share that if anyone is interested.
So we do have another question, and I'm just going to plug it right now. The site to learn more is tokengated.co, TOKENGATED.co. So to go check that out. It'll be in the show notes too. And then also, what are the features on the roadmap, the next feature, the most exciting feature that you are excited to build?
I don't know how much I'm supposed to say.
Give a tease, just a little tease. What
there's a lot of things on the roadmap, but the thing that's coming up that I'm most excited about is that there will be an NFT drop. So right now, the signature, when you sign up, it's just kind of like based on your token. But we are going to be launching a community member token as well as a community owner token. And so that ownership of that token, the gated token, gives you access to more content, gives you access to like the emails, as well as, different platforms like, Chrome extensions and social, more social content as well. So we're excited about these two NFT drops and what additional information and content and alpha we're able to provide to community owners as well as community members based on these tokens. Okay, and then the next thing, or after that, is like this dashboard. So right now, we're pulling in all of this data about what's happening in the Discord or in the Telegram. And we're actually compiling that information to make a dashboard for the community owners and community managers. So like, for example, being able to tell you, when are your chats most active? Who are your most active community members? What days of the week are most active? And then also maybe some, analysis of like key terms that might be discussed in the chats and metrics about, who's been active for 30 days, who's been inactive for 60 days, so that the community managers actually have data to understand the health of their community and what they might can do to like make it better and things like that. So this community owner dashboard, I'm really excited about it because I'm a data scientist. So having like a dashboard where you can kind of see the health of your community is like really awesome.
100%.
Yeah, I'm sure, Mike, as COO, I'm sure you're like, I need that. I need all of the data. I want to know everything.
We're working it. Absolutely. Good decisions get made with data. I think the other piece that I just had a very meta moment for this call is that I pinned the notes in the Telegram that I know are going to show up in my email later for Gated. So that's fantastic. All right. So what other questions do we have here? I think we're pretty well rounding it out. Any closing thoughts?
I think Chris Cantino said pop times gated NFT win. So, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but obviously if gated was made in CPG, we're going to make sure you guys are taken care of, right?
That's it. I know we have some exciting announcements coming around this, but this is the alpha that you got to just wait a little bit for us. So, all right. Well, Audrey, I can't thank you enough for sharing your insights, for sharing your time with us, and really looking forward to watching the progress of Gated, tokengated.co. Again, check it out. And hit up Audrey in the Telegram chats if you're there. And if you're finding this on the wider web, come on into the CPG Pop community. Keep building with us, learning with us. I'm super excited and very bullish, as the term would be, on what's happening for Gated and for the rest of the Pop community. But you get the closing statement. What would you like to close out with?
I would just like to say thank you guys. I absolutely, if you don't know, I am an African-American woman, and a lot of times I can feel left out, but I wanted to personally say thank you to Mikey and Chris Cantino and all of the amazing people a part of CPG Club and Pop. You guys always make me feel so welcome and supported. And it's that is what community is about. That's what Web3 is about. So I don't know, we didn't talk about it, but my first tattoo was the CPG Genesis deodorant, and that just lets you guys know how much I love CPG Club. And it's really because you guys, I've always felt so supported because of everyone there. And I'm definitely a popper, and I'm excited to build more stuff with everyone involved with CPG Club and Pop. And definitely, if anyone needs help or has a really awesome idea that they want some tech guidance on, you can definitely reach out to me.
Thank you so much. You're amazing. All right, everyone, you heard it here. Have a great rest of your day. And if you're just catching up now, make sure you like and subscribe wherever that is. I don't even know if we're doing that, but it feels natural to say. All right.
Should we get this subscribe here, link below? How they do
point to the things. Yep. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.